Hello again, welcome to my Lawn Bowls for Fun channel. My name's Alec. Today I'm going to talk to you about the mat and where we place the mat on the green and why we replace it sometimes in a different position and what's the reason for that. Before an end starts, the mat must be placed on the green, and as long as the front of the mat is more than 2 meters from the ditch, that's a legal mat. In fact, it can be taken quite a long way up the green as well. And if you'll notice on a bowling green, there are 4 markers on the side of the green. And they are there for various reasons. The first marker is in fact the 2-meter mark. So you can usually stand on a mat and look down the side of the green just to make sure that the mat is in the right position. You want to make sure you're actually well over that line, because you might make a mistake and not place it 2 meters, and the opposition team could query that and then measure it with the 2-meter stick, and if you found out then that it wasn't 2 meters, then you lose control of the mat. So make sure you're slightly over 2 meters to be sure. You can of course use the 2-meter stick that's always on the side of the green to make sure that you're 2 meters from the ditch. But most people don't use that. They normally just use a method which ensures they are 2 meters up, one of which I'll demonstrate in a minute.
So here I am. I'm going to place the mat down. I'm going to measure it 3 times. 1, 2 and 3, and a little bit of extra, and that should be right. But of course the best way to make sure is to use the 2-meter measure stick. You wouldn't normally do this. Once you practice this, you're pretty good at putting it right. I just want to show you here that in fact I did do it correctly.
But of course you can move the mat up the green quite a long distance. And in fact the second marker that you see on the side of the rink is how far you can take it up. Now that marker is 25 meters from the far ditch. So you can place the mat anywhere between the 2-meter mark, which is where I'm standing on this end of the green. You can walk down the green to the 25-meter mark, which is the 25-meter mark from the other end of the green. The third marker is where you have to place the jack. At least the jack has to go to that point if the mat is on the 2-meter mark. That's your guide. So you look down the green, you can see the third marker. You know you've got to get your jack at least past that point. However, if you take the mat up the green, say another 4 meters, then you have to make sure that when you bowl the jack down the green, that it goes another 4 meters past that third marker. Otherwise, of course, it won't be 23 meters up. And if any jack goes down the green and isn't 23 meters from the front of the mat, it's an illegal jack, and then you lose the mat to your opposing team, which you really don't want to do. The very last marker is the 2-meter mark from the other end of the green, and you can bowl the jack right the way up to the point of the ditch. If it goes to the ditch, you've lost the jack again, but you can send a jack anywhere along the green as long as it's more than 25 meters from the front of the mat and doesn't go into the ditch. If the jack that you send down the green goes between the last marker and the ditch, then the jack is in fact isn't just centered anywhere where it ends up on the green. It's actually put onto what's known as the tee, which is 2 meters from the other ditch, where the number is in the middle of the rink. So I hope that sort of explains the different positions that you can put the mat in. But then why would you do that? Well, it's all down to tactics. When you're just having a roll up, then you put the mat anywhere on the green. People just put it a couple of meters or 2 or 3 meters up the green, and it doesn't really matter. But when you're playing in an important game, and you're out to win the game, obviously, there are reasons why you would want to move the mat. Let me give you an example. A few months ago, I was playing in a game. I was leading in a game, and we lost the first 6 ends, and we were 10-0 down. We haven't even scored a point. But what the opposition were doing is they'd won the toss anyway for the mat for the very first end. And they were using the mat on the 2-metre mark and sending the jack as far down as they can. So it was a full length jack. And they were playing very, very well at that position. So I had a word with my skip as we crossed over. I said, look, when we win an end, well, if we win an end, I'm going to change the position of the mat. I'm going to change things. And of course, we eventually did. We did win the end. And I took the mat about another 5 metres up the green. And then I sent the jack down, and we had a short to medium jack. And that changed the whole dynamics of the game, because suddenly my team started playing much better with the mat in that position, and the opposition were totally put off. We ended up turning the game around completely. Of course, whenever they got the mat back, they put the maximum length jack up because they knew that's where they had the advantage, and we kept taking the mat up. In the end, we did win the game by 5 or 6 shots. So it's a really worthwhile changing the position of the mat. It doesn't always work, of course. Sometimes, whatever you do, you're just not going to win, for whatever the reason. But it's surprising how often when you do change the position of the mat, or you go from a long jack to a short jack, sometimes you might want to leave the mat where it is and just bowl up to the 3rd marker. But taking the mat up as well sometimes does help. Now you can take the mat all the way up to that 2nd marker, as I mentioned. But then when you send that jack down the green, the lead's got to be able to place the jack somewhere between the 2-metre mark and the ditch. Otherwise it'll be illegal, because it's not 23 metres up unless it reaches that point. But you mustn't let it go in the ditch. That's a difficult thing for a lead to do. I've been bowling 35 years and I wouldn't like to try that. I have done on occasion, and sometimes I can do it, but it is tough. So I wouldn't recommend you take the mat up that far. Certainly take it up 4 or 5 metres or even 6 metres, but it still gives you a fairly big area to bowl the jack into. So tactically, it is very important to think about what you're going to do with the mat. Before a game starts, if I know the person I'm playing with, I know his strengths, or the team members that I'm playing with, I know their strengths and weaknesses usually. If we have someone playing that isn't very good at long jacks, then I would keep it short to medium. If I don't know the team I'm playing with, or certainly if I'm playing with a skip that I don't know, for example, sometimes I play for the county, and often you play with people you've never met before. As I'm usually leading when I play for the county, I would always say to the skip, okay, what would you like me to do with the mat? Now, invariably, they always say, you put it where you can get to it, because they know how important it is for the lead to get a bowl on that jack first. And skips usually allow the leads to make that decision where they put the mat. But you might be playing with a skip that doesn't like long jacks, for example. So there's no point in putting a long jack up. He's not going to be very happy, is he? I always ask the players, do they prefer long or short jacks, just to get a feel for what we should be doing. Of course, once the game starts and you find you're not doing very well, you will adjust anyway, even if you find if your strengths are short jacks, but the opposing team are better than you, then make them medium to long jacks. You just have to change something. And it's often surprising how much it can help. Won't always, of course, but there we are. So I think that explains enough about why you wouldn't necessarily put the mat always in the same place. Just think about what you're doing. Incidentally, I'm talking about sort of serious games here. When you're playing a friendly game where the result isn't that important, it's more of a social thing. I think it's always nice to make sure that if you're playing with someone, this happened a few weeks ago actually. We were playing in a game and one of the opposition players really wasn't very strong and couldn't get up the green on a full length jack. So I told in fact we made an agreement, me and the other skip, that we wouldn't play long jacks, we would play short to medium jacks to make it a game for everybody. There's no point in, we always go out to win a game, of course you do. but we don't want to exclude someone, especially from a friendly game where it's just really a social thing. Of course, a lot of people won't agree with that statement. They would say, no, you should go into every game to win it. Of course we do, but you also don't want to exclude someone. So I think for friendly games, you don't worry so much about the tactics. Unless you're losing badly, then of course you'll try anything you can to get back into the game. Just my opinion, of course, about friendlies, but there we are. So I hope what I've explained there makes sense, and you understand a bit more why you wouldn't always just place the mat in the same position. Right, see you again soon.